much for being here. This is a wonderful day. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John Durso, and I have the privilege of being the president of Long Island Federation of Labor. So before we really start the program, I want to acknowledge some of our folks that are here. And in particular, I want to acknowledge and thank our legislators, because besides the great work of our county executive, today would not happen without their support and everything that they do each and every day for the people of this great county. So with that, I'd like to just acknowledge our presiding officer, Kevin McCaffrey. Majority Leader Nick Caracappa. Legislator Thorne. Legislator Jim Mazzarella. Legislator Sammy Gonzalez. Legislator Sarah Enke. Legislator Tom Donnelly. On behalf of Legislator Stephanie Bonenthal is Greg Arathon. If I mispronounce it, I apologize, Greg. And on behalf of Jason Reachberg, our Minority Leader, Claire Angeli. Okay, Claire, good. Unfortunately, I have a very hard time with Italian names. I don't know why, but I do. Okay, also I want to acknowledge Roger Clayman, a former director of the Long Island Federation of Labor. Where the hell is he? Okay, why are you hiding? Of course, the lovely and talented Matty Arasich from the Nassau Suffolk Building Trades. Lovely and talented. And from Local 25, our hosts, who never, ever say no, who are always here for all of us. John Gugagdo, all these years I know him, I never pronounce his name right. John's over there. And there's Kevin Casey, our business manager. So, again, this is a fabulous day. What's going to happen today is going to change the lives of many. It's going to give an infusion to our communities, and it is very typical of the work that our county executive has done for the past 12 years in partnership with our great legislators. So we're very, very thankful. We're very appreciative. And I just would like to introduce, I mentioned it before, I mentioned the lovely and talented Matty Arasich, to say a few words. Matty?
Good afternoon. I've never been called lovely in my entire life, so it's both uncomfortable and new. Thanks everybody for coming. Thanks to all the legislators. Thanks to the state. Thanks to all the labor organizations. We're at a precipice at this point. We're making advancements in energy and making sure the community is actually part of that. These are the instruments in making sure that an economy works with people to give them a middle-class income, as well as making sure that they have the right to go ahead and retire with dignity and have health care. That's the components and the strength of everything we do with the building trades. So with this, you're going to hear quite a few things on the energy side, and also you're going to hear some stuff about grants that are coming through the state. Those are important pieces in making sure that the entire model works. Apprentice programs, pre-apprentice programs as well. The reason is that is actually the road to the middle class. The last thing I want to say before I introduce the next partner here is that with this, what you'll hear is that there's a component of this next grant system which takes place for Suffolk County. What's important is that this project will be covered by a project labor agreement, which we approved actually this morning, and you'll hear that in the next 2 weeks. It gives me great pleasure to go and introduce someone who's been on our side of labor, makes things where they're not political. He makes sure that they are not partisan, that make sure that everything that we do is for the basis of the county and also helps the people in the states. It is my pleasure to introduce Steve Bellone.
Thank you, Matty. I guess I'm not lovely and
Not lovely enough.
But you
what
are
is
talented.
it? Talented enough.
Yeah,
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. First of all, a big thank you to Local 25. Let's give them a round of applause. Kevin Casey, John Godano. Thank you very much, the entire team here. Legislator Donnelly was telling me, he remembers he just got a shout on his phone when we were here 11 years ago, I think when I was running for the first time, 12 years ago for county executive. Boy, 12 years has gone by pretty quickly. But as John said, Local 25 is always here, and very much appreciate them hosting us here today. I want to thank John Durso, of course, for his great leadership, and Matty Arasich as well, and it was a wonderful thing to hear about the PLA for this project, that one of the things we're talking about here today. So thank you to both of them. I want to first and foremost thank my colleagues. You heard them mentioned before, but my colleagues in the Suffolk County Legislature. Of course, our presiding officer, Kevin McCaffrey, who's going to be coming up in just a few moments. But all of my colleagues in the legislature, I know Legislator Richburg, our minority leader, wasn't able to be here today, but we appreciate him as well. And to all of my colleagues who are here, I said this yesterday when we were talking about this issue, without the legislature having voted to put these funds in the 2023 operating budget, in the ARPA Main Street line, $35.6 million, or in the capital plan, the $11.5 million over the last couple of years, budgeted in the capital plan for the JumpStart program. Without the legislature having done that and having supported that, we wouldn't be here. This day would not be happening. So my thanks to them for their leadership and their work. I also have to give a special thank you to somebody who, without his work, we would not be here, and that is our United States Senator Chuck Schumer. He really prioritized after the pandemic, making sure communities had the funding and support they needed, not only to recover, but to ensure a sustainable long-term economic comeback. And we have utilized most of our funding here. I think this has been something that we've been in agreement on, all of my colleagues in the legislature, that we had to invest most of our dollars into infrastructure, that was a priority, and sewer infrastructure particularly. And so a majority, most of our dollars have been invested in sewer infrastructure, but some of it was put aside for investments in our downtowns and in our communities and in our families, like we're talking about here today. And so I want to say a special thank you to Senator Schumer for making this possible. Let's give him a round of applause. He's not here. And our entire congressional delegation, without whom this wouldn't have happened. So finally, in terms of thank yous, I want to thank the members of the committee, of course, our presiding officer and minority leader, but also on the committee was the Commissioner of Economic Development and Planning, who does an amazing job, Sarah Lansdale. Thank you, Commissioner. Bob Fonte, who co-chairs the Suffolk Alliance of Chambers. Bob, thank you very much for your great work. And I had a representative, also Chief of Staff Melanie Sinisi. Thank you, Melanie, of course, in the background, hiding out in the background. Thank you very much, Melanie. So yesterday, we talked about and announced with the presiding officer and with the minority leader, $47 million in grants in support of our downtowns and Main Street, $16.9 million distributed through the JumpStart program to local municipalities, and $30.1 million to more than 60 not-for-profit small businesses and cultural arts institutions as part of the JumpSMART program. Now, this can get a little tricky. JumpStart, we've been doing for a long time, which goes to municipalities, to villages and towns, to invest in our downtowns, capital projects, because we know how critical they are to our economic future. JumpSMART, small businesses, art, regional tourism, these dollars are going to small businesses, not-for-profits, to focus on that sustainable long-term economic growth that we need, again, coming out of the pandemic. These programs, both JumpSMART and JumpStart, are all about building sustainable economic development and an environment that will enable Suffolk families and businesses to thrive over the long term. We know that investing in our downtowns is critical to building that type of sustainable economic future. But it's also not enough alone to be doing that. We also need to be investing in people. And that's why the JumpSMART program also does investment in workforce development. And that's why we're here today. We know that investing in the workforce, there's no better place to be talking about that than right here at IBW Local 25. We know that investing in the workforce to make sure that that workforce has the training, the skills necessary for success is critical for long-term economic growth and competitiveness. Whether we're talking about the training necessary to ensure that our residents here are able to take advantage of the opportunities associated with the development of a brand new industry like offshore wind, or whether we're talking about making sure that all the members of our community, including those who may be on the autism spectrum or may have other developmental issues, that for these individuals, we are fully leveraging their incredible abilities and talents and skills as well. That's also part of building the opportunity for a sustainable economic future for all families and businesses in Suffolk County. So by allocating these funds towards education, training, and skill-building programs, we're empowering our residents to seize opportunities and to adapt to evolving industries while maintaining the pulse of communities. So that is why we are here today, but you are not here to hear me go on for a long period of time. So I'm going to cut that short. I'm going to make the announcements on the awards, the recommended awards that we're talking about here today before I turn it over to my colleagues. And after their remarks are completed, then we will get to the reason why everybody's really here, and that is the big checks. Now, I will caution everybody, do not go to the bank with the big checks. You got to hold off on that. You got to wait for a little check to come in. But we like taking pictures with the big checks. So with that, I'm going to announce the awardees, and I'm going to turn it to my colleagues. And again, we wouldn't be here without them, so I want to thank them and ask them to say a few words, and then we'll get into the presentation. So the first awardee would be the Palomine Equestrian Center to support their great organization, their training program known as Job Security through Equine Partnership, or JSTEP. Tessa Van Flork is here, and we're going to be calling her up in just a little bit, but they're recipients of a recommended $100,000 award. So Palomine, thank you very much for your work. The second, the Suffolk YJCC, Rick Lewis is the CEO, and I was there with not too long ago with some of my colleagues after the horrific attack that occurred in Israel, and certainly we're praying for everyone there. But we were there with Rick, and he hosted, I think, a event that brought the community together, and it was really necessary and really appropriate, Rick. And it's the kind of thing they do all the time at the YJCC. And they have a theater program that is a workforce development program for individuals with special needs. And they do a terrific job with that. And they are the recipients of an award recommended of $150,000 for their theater in the workshop program. Thank you. The third awardee, the Winter Center for Autism, has their Workforce Development Downtown Collaborative. And I happen to know this organization well, and I think many people here do. We have Christine Ponzio, the executive director here. And we also have very special to have her here today, Michelle Winters, who's the founder. Michelle, thank you very much. It's great to be with you. And they're doing amazing work there if you get a chance to go down there. But they applied for their Workforce Development Downtown Collaborative Program, and that is getting fully funded, $183,000 they applied for. Thank you. From the United Way of Long Island, our good friend Teresa Regnanti, President and CEO. I don't think I have to go on about all the amazing things the United Way does. They are just a constant presence in the community and just one of the pillars of the community. And they applied for a Clean Energy Workforce Training Academy initiative that will provide hands-on training in clean energy and renewables for veterans, I know, which is something near and dear to the heart of our Veterans Chair, Nick Caracappa. And also for at-risk youth. And they have an award of $385,000. Gigi's Playhouse, who we, no, that's, there's applause right there. Pat Barry and Michael Singliano, the president, is Sirigliano. Thank you, Pat. Appreciate that. Just an amazing place. Some of my colleagues have much more familiarity. I'm looking forward to visiting and seeing in person some of the amazing things that I've heard about from Gigi's. But they've applied for a comprehensive learning program for teens and adults with Down syndrome and other learning disabilities that prepare them to meet the demands of the working world. It's called the Gigi University Program, and they awarded $1 million in support of that. Elijah Farm. I think many of my colleagues know this individual as well, Deb Tiviage, the CEO. We partnered as a county with Elijah Farm, with the Elijah School and this amazing organization to purchase a property, to keep it as open space, which is one of the priorities of the legislature and of the county as a whole. And they preserved this working farm in Huntington. And what? LD17, yes, exactly. Legislator Donnelly knows it well. Thank you. Yes. And what amazing things that are happening there, that they're doing skill building and training and workforce development happening on that farm. And this person, Deb Tiviage, who is not a farmer, has become a farmer now. She is constantly developing new skills. So Elijah Farm, for their workforce development programs and the expansion at the farm, is awarded $1 million as well. And then finally, the National Offshore Wind Training Center that John and Maddie were both speaking about, and that Matt just mentioned. They've worked to finalize the PLA on, which is a great announcement. This is a center that will ensure that as this industry continues to grow, as it will in the coming years and in the coming decades, that we have a local training center here that is ensuring that our people here, our residents here, have the training they need to access these jobs and in this new industry. And so that's why this National Offshore Wind Training Center, located right here in Suffolk County, is so important. Right here. And we want to thank the entire team, including Roger Clayman, for the work they're doing on that, and an award of $3 million to support the building of this training center. LD9, Legislator Gonzalez, LD9, yes, exactly. So now I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues to ask them to say a few words before we do the formal presentation, starting, of course, with our presiding officer, Kevin McCaffrey.
Thank you, Steve. And, Steve's given a lot of the accolades to all the legislatures, but Steve is the one that puts all these priorities in his budget. And I just kind of have to get some help from my colleagues to get it across the finish line. So Steve deserves all the recognition for this, to proposing all these great ideas. So Steve, appreciate the good work that you've done to get us here today. It's nice to be here in Local 25. Me and Kevin go back a little ways. I was a trustee and deputy mayor in the village of Lyndhurst, and he was a young organizer for Local 25, and we're figuring out a way to try and get our fire department done the right way, and but we go back a long way. So, but we didn't do too bad for ourselves since then, huh? Business manager, presiding officer, who would have thought? You know, we did okay. Did okay. But this is a great day, and it's always a great day when you're giving out money, right? Yesterday we were on a tour. We started in Smithtown and Huntington, and those are the North Shore communities. They don't usually let us South Shore guys up the North Shore, but we bring in a lot of money, so they made an exception, and ended up down in Patchogue and Bellport yesterday. But the theme was the same. We're looking at different ways that we can invest this money, and this is thanks to Senator Schumer and the whole congressional delegation, that these are all the monies that are supposed to come in and bring back our economy, you know, after the COVID pandemic. And I think we spent a lot of that money on sewer infrastructure, which is so very important to us. It's going to create jobs, economic development into the future. And the rest of these are now what I call seed money, where we're given to organizations, and yesterday it was to historical societies, downtowns to rebuild, and to different cultural facilities. But today it's about workforce development, and it's we really like this offshore wind. We think this is going to be the future there, and it's a great investment. Besides the investment the county has already made into that facility, and we're going to continue to do that. We've got so many other exciting things to get done. But you know what's good about today is we left nobody behind, you know, and those who face different challenges in their life, we made sure that we addressed all of the people so nobody is left behind. They have the same opportunities that everybody else has to make the best of their lives and be trained in the same way, of giving the same opportunities that each and every one of us has gotten along the way. So we think we've made great use of this money. I too want to thank everybody that worked so hard on. Melanie, always behind the staff, kept us in line to make sure that it's not always easy. My partner, Jason Richburg, the minority leader, couldn't be here. We also, Sarah Lansdale always does a great job in all these adventures, and Bob Fonte and Jonathan Keys, and I want to thank the county executive again for bringing us all together, you know, saying, hey, this is a great idea. Let's help move this ball down the field. And I think today we've done this, and we look forward to being able to give you a little more than just the big checks. But before the end of the year, we like to be able to, if the controller cooperates, we'd like to be able to get the real checks out here and put it to good use, which I'm sure all these organizations will do. So thank you very much, and thank you to all my partners here in government that helped get this done, and on the labor. So now it's my pleasure to introduce the majority leader of the Suffolk County Legislator, my colleague and my good friend, Nick McCaffrey.
Good afternoon. It really is an honor to be standing up here today. This is the pleasurable part of our jobs. This is our responsibility to present opportunities to our communities. I want to thank first and foremost my partners. Bipartisan effort here. This is putting people over politics. There are no lines drawn when we're doing this kind of work. I want to thank the committee who had to make the very difficult decisions. It's easy to give away money, but there's so many worthy organizations that do apply. It's the difficult part is making the selections, but reading the list. We're helping people from downtowns to cultural. We're helping our families with disabilities, our veterans, which is, again, near and dear to me, so what the disabilities part. I like to call them abilities, fantastic abilities. And of course, our brothers and sisters in the workforce. I was in labor for 34 years, a labor leader for 14 of those years, having the opportunity to protect our environment with what's coming up, not only with the sewers that were discussed earlier, that's economic development, that's jobs, people, that's sustainable revenues coming in, and that goes back into our infrastructure, into our small businesses, downtowns. It's what we do. But with this training center, you know, this is the future, to have safe, efficient, reliable energy. And that's going to be done using safe, efficient, and reliable work, labor, from highly trained, highly skilled individuals right here in Suffolk County. The word opportunity for our veterans, opportunity for people with challenges, opportunity to our downtowns, opportunity to our young professionals, opportunities to our seniors, opportunities to our working class. This is a group effort. This is what we do here in Suffolk County. So thank you, Steve Bellone, our county executive, for the amazing, amazing job and the laser focus you have on the attention of all these different organizations that are so worthy to be here. And I want to congratulate all the organizations, some that I have the honor of working closely with, and some that I'm just, blown away with what you actually do in your community. So thank you all very much for being here. Thank you all for being up here. It is really my honor to say I was a part of this, to work with the incredible people behind me. And thank you, and God bless everybody. My brothers and sisters.
All right, before we bring the checks up, my other colleagues here, would like to say a few words? Ditto. Ditto. All right.
Nick said
They're
everything.
like, let's get to the checks. Jim, do you want to say anything? You sure? Yes. All right, all right.
Let's get to the power line.
All right.